If this man is trying to imply that these three players who are white are gonna win the MVP just because of their skin color is I think it's pretty well known on this channel I don't like NBA media whatsoever. I mean, when I look at the media, I truly look at it as ruining the game of basketball and the way people look at it. But the NBA media this week has been so bad with the amount of takes, with the amount of stuff that I've seen, I had to make a video about it all. There's like 3 to 4 topics I'm gonna be talking about in this video. It's not just one, so I'm gonna do this segment by segment. To start off, I wanna talk about Kendrick Perkins, which we're gonna be seeing him a lot on this video. So as we know, the NBA MVP race is very controversial, and it feels like it's been like this for the past couple years. And this year, there's a real possibility that Nikola Jokic is one of the few players in NBA history to win 3 straight MVPs. Some people totally agree that he should win it, and others are slandering him. Now, I've talked about the possibility of Nikola Jokic winning the MVP on several occasions, and in both of those videos, we all kind of came to the conclusion that if he wins, it's going to be because of his stats, the fact the Nuggets are one of the best teams in the NBA. I mean, personally, I'm not saying he's going to win the MVP. I wouldn't be that surprised if he does. Now, another MVP candidate I've talked about this season is Joel Embiid, which again, I think he's definitely someone that should be talked about. In fact, another person that believes this as well is Kendrick Perkins, who on the record said he thinks Joel Embiid should be the front runner for the MVP. And I'm gonna be honest, I think Joel Embiid should be up there, but I'm not sure if he's the front runner. But again, that's just me. It's just like Jokic. If Joel Embiid won the MVP, I wouldn't be mad, and I wouldn't be like, man, how did this happen? I'd be like, okay, you know, I could definitely see that. But I'm talking about Kendrick Perkins, so you know some dumb shit is about to come after this.
I don't want to hear that. You know why? Because when I watch the games, okay? When I watch the, hold on. When I watch the games, I'm watching Jokic pass the ball, and I'm watching his guys catch and shoot, no hesitation, good or bad shot. And let me tell you one thing. It goes on, conversations goes on in that locker room, and players know what their stats are. Okay, so we had this energy for Russell Westbrook.
How the f does Kendrick Perkins have a job in NBA media? Number one, I'm going to say this immediately. The Russell Westbrook 2017 MVP case versus Jokic's MVP case this year are totally 2 different things. First off, there was film that came out about Russell Westbrook practically forcing rebounds to go to him. Second, the OKC Thunder never made it past the 5 seed last time I checked. Especially that MVP season, they were a playoff team, but that was it. And if you ask me, I think Nikola Jokic is by far a better playmaker than Russell Westbrook. And if we look at Jokic, well, they're first in the Western Conference. I would say Jokic gets his rebounds pretty naturally because he's a center. And again, I already touched on the playmaking aspect. But even that alone is not enough to dissect the whole Jokic is a stat padder is ridiculous. The only point that you can make about Jokic being a stat padder is the type of shots he takes. But I'm not taking that claim seriously. And I want to use a quick example of Kevin Durant's first 2 games in Phoenix. In Kevin Durant's first 2 games combined, he's had 43 points while shooting 17 of 25 from the field. So just because Kevin Durant is shooting very efficiently and isn't scoring as much points as you would like does not mean he's stat padding. A situation where Nikola Jokic only needs to average like 23 points per game, but he can get like 15 assists, that's a good situation. Even though we all know Jokic and KD are 2 players where if they absolutely need to take over the scoring, they can do just that. And I know Kevin Durant and the Suns is only 2 games, and this is such a small sample size, but I'm just trying to give you context. Because truth be told, Jokic has a good field goal percentage because he doesn't need to take a lot of shots. Why would he spam a bunch of shot attempts that there's a good chance he's not going to make all of them? Why would he not try to make other passes to his good players? And look, I know I've been very critical of Nikola Jokic the past couple weeks as far as his defense goes, but I do not agree with Perk on this whatsoever. Listen though, I am a man of second chances. I'm willing to give you another chance to redeem yourself, unless you're my ex-girlfriend. All jokes aside, if Perk can give us more context on what he said, I think we can just scratch this whole video.
When it comes down to guys winning MVP since 1990, it's only 3 guys that won the MVP that wasn't top 10 in scoring. Do you know who those 3 guys were?
Who were they?
Steve Nash, Jokic, and Dirk Nowitzki. What do those guys have in common? I'll let it sit there and marinate. You think about it.
I know what he's trying to say, and No, that's not at all true. If this man is trying to imply that these 3 players who are white are gonna win the MVP just because of their skin color is fucking ridiculous. All of these players except Jokic, because he technically hasn't won the MVP, but Dirk and Steve Nash, they absolutely deserve to win the MVP. And of course, I am one of the biggest Kobe fans you're going to meet, and I know some Kobe fans will go back and say, oh, Kobe should have won it over Steve Nash, but that's your argument. However, I know if you're a Kobe fan, you're not gonna say, oh, he won it because he's white. You can honestly say, oh, the only reason why he won is because they had a better record. In fact, I believe they were the 1st seed. And you know what? I'm not even gonna get mad at you. But if you're gonna say he only won it because he's white is fucking ridiculous. And Dirk, same thing. He absolutely deserved to have the MVP award. And Jokic, in this case, if he does win it, I think he does deserve it. I don't even think race plays a single factor whatsoever. Like, I'm trying to figure out if your point is that white players are gonna get an advantage because they're white in the MVP race, then how have mostly black players won the award? In fact, before Jokic won an MVP, it had been 13 straight years since a non-white player won the award. So what happened in that 13-year span, Perk? Like, come on, this does not play a factor, especially in this race. I'm so dumbfounded that we've let someone like Kendrick Perkins actually become a part of the media and be someone that constantly gets airtime. I want to remind you guys that just because a former player becomes an analyst does not mean he actually knows what he's talking about. There are probably a few examples of former players I can think of in the NBA that are actually good analysts, and by far the best one is easily JJ Redick, which I've said for over a year. In fact, I agree with the take that JJ Redick is the only thing saving NBA media. Now, something else that happened today that I thought was pretty interesting involves Stephen A. Smith. Now, the Phoenix Suns have once again became a hot topic in the NBA, and I think it's very obvious why. And Stephen A. Smith was doing a segment when he said this.
And when you that ticked off, at some point in time, whether it's now or later, you're going to have to look at you and not just the people who are talking. In other words, before you kill the messenger, you might want to kill yourself.
I know what he was trying to say, but there had to have been a better way of saying it. So that happened today. Now, there's one more topic I wanted to discuss, but this is something I was not going to make a full video about. Now, the Player of the Week award is something that really means little to nothing. I don't think anyone's going to say, oh, well, this player is better than this player because he has more Eastern Conference Player of the Week awards. So, like, that's just not how this works. The Giannis disrespect has gotten to the point where it's the little shit that's starting to piss me off. So Jalen Brunson this week won the Eastern Conference Player of the Week award. In the month of February, Jalen Brunson averaged 27 and 6 while shooting about 53% from the field, and the New York Knicks had a record of 8 and 2. That's cool, that really is, except Giannis had 29, 12 and 6 and they didn't lose a single game. It's gotten to the point where, like, is Giannis gonna fucking win anything? And I know the Player of the Month award means absolutely nothing, which is why I had no intention about making a video about it. But this just goes full circle to the whole MVP conversation, which I'll be making a video about on Monday. Because once again, Giannis is not getting the credit he deserves, and it seems like no one even wants to talk about him. Also, the Bucks are on a 16-game win streak. Why the fuck are we not talking about this? I just think it's kind of funny that Giannis or the Bucks are never gonna get the credit they deserve. Oh shit, so I was actually about to end this video, and then I realized there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. So I woke up this morning and I went on Twitter and I saw a screenshot of an ESPN video that said this: decisions the Cleveland Cavaliers are facing. Will Donovan Mitchell stay? Y'all are so fucking shameless. First of all, Donovan Mitchell literally got here this season. Second of all, the Cavs are one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Also, there are 3 years left in his contract with a player option. And as of I know right now, I've seen little to no indication that Donovan Mitchell wants to leave the Cavs. So why are we talking about, especially right now, why are we talking about Donovan Mitchell leaving the Cavs? Like, it's just shit like this that annoys me. I truly understand you needing to add segments into your whole ass show, but I feel like there has to be other topics to talk about than just trying to create something that's not there. I don't know what's worse, this or the fact that Undisputed did a whole ass segment where they ripped Giannis for making jokes about KD and Jokic. Mind you, these jokes were in a fucking skit that involved a comedian telling Giannis to read off a teleprompter. I swear, NBA media is so bored nowadays, it's just annoying at this point. With that being said, if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like on this and subscribe to the channel. I am taking a look at a huge problem with the MVP conversation. That video is coming out on Monday. And as always, don't listen to Kendrick Perkins, you dumb fucking bitch.
Yes, fuck that bitch till the day I die. 220 on the dash, I got bloody red eyes. I got the pack coming in.